Hey, Dennis here for Render Plus Systems to show you how to get started using nXtRender for SketchUp. This video will cover setting up nXtRender, reviewing the nXtRender toolbar, adding reflections and lights, and reviewing the final rendering. Alright, before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that this model can be found on the 3D Warehouse if you search for Render Plus Systems. Alright, so to start off, you'll need to go to renderplus.com and download and then install nXtRender. Once that's done, you can come up here to Plugins and click on nXtRender. And then when you do that, you'll see that this new toolbar here pops up, and this is the nXtRender toolbar, and here's where you can find any and all things dealing with nXtRender. So let me go over these options here. This first button is the Info button, and it'll give you information about nXtRender, such as the version number and licensing info. The second button over is actually the Rendering button, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. Then the third button is the setup options for nXtRender. Things like presets and rendering size and length. Then the fourth one is where you can create lights. You can add a ceiling, point, and spotlights from here. And then lastly, the Help button. When clicked on, this will load up the help system for the software. Alright, so let's get started rendering the scene we have here. So the two major benefits of nXtRender are the price, which is set very competitively and low, and then the ease of use. There are just a few simple options that allow you to get a very high quality rendering. But for those of you who need a few more options than what nXtRender offers, check out our full renderer called iRenderNext. So today I'm going to focus on how easy it is to quickly and easily add lights and reflections to materials in this model. So first, I'm going to start off by adding reflections to the floor here. So to do that, simply hover over the floor material and right-click, and then click on Edit Material. And then this Material Properties box pops up, and you can see reflection here. When it's set to 0, like it is now, it means that there's no reflection. But when it's set to 100, it means that it's got a mirror-like reflection. And then anything in between is just a percentage of that. So I think I'm going to go with 70% here, and then click on OK. And that's it. It's just that simple to add reflections to materials. So now let's add some more to a couple more materials here, like this tabletop. So again, just hover over it, right-click, click on Edit Material, give it some percentage, and click on OK. Now let's do it to the bed. Right-click, Edit Material, give it a percentage, click on OK. Alright, so you get the idea of how to add reflection. But now let's add some lights. So if I just rotate around a little bit here, you'll see that I've drawn a couple rectangles on the ceiling and applied a different material to them than I have to the rest of the ceiling. And the operation to add lights is the same as it was to add reflection. So simply just hover over the material you want to light up, right-click, and go to Edit Material. And then the same materials property box will show up again. And instead of giving a value to reflection this time, we'll be setting the value to glow. So you can kind of think of these values as wattage. And again, it's just a simple slider bar, so I think I'm going to set mine to about 30, and then click on OK. Now if I right click on the one next to it here, you'll see that there's already a glow value applied to it. And that's because it's the same material. So it's important to remember that you are applying a property to a material and not just an object. Alright, so that's that. And now I can just come up here and click on the render button. And here you go. So you can easily see the reflections on the floor here, and in the bed here and here, and then also in the table and on the wall that I added. And then of course the lights on the ceiling. So nothing too crazy here, just a quick overview of how easy it is to add lights and reflections using nXtRender for SketchUp. Alright, so I hope this helps you get going using this new product. Thanks.